Good afternoon. Welcome. This is John Canning speaking here, and I thought I'd share with you a few thoughts that I have about the start of the workshop. It's great that we have such a range of people from different locations in the IB world, and also that the locations represent such widely different cultures and contexts. So thank you very much for your contributions in the first week. It's been interesting reading your introductions, and we have such a rich variety of experiences here. Well, the first task that you've been asked to do in the first week was to actually get you up to speed with the current vocabulary in the CAS guide, and that involved you uploading a crossword to a Padlet. I have subsequently uploaded the solutions, which I'm assuming that you'd all seen anyway, and so I'd like to thank you for your efforts there. In addition, one of the other tasks you had to do this week was to look at some of the vocabulary of CAS and create a word cloud from it. And these were very interesting. One of the things which dominated your selections was the word service, which is, of course, one of the most important strands of CAS. But we must be careful that we ensure that the students that we're helping to supervise have a balanced CAS program, because the point of one of the points of CAS was that students develop in a holistic way, and that's why, for example, creativity and activity were actually included in the requirements for CAS. That was one point that came across. Another one was about experiential learning, and which is really doing and then reflecting on things. And reflection was another one of the key words that came up in many word clouds. And another word that came up was actually about commitment, and really without commitment to particular experiences, there's really not going to be much learning going on. So those were some of the key words that I picked out, and I'd like to thank everybody. There was again a tremendous variety of word clouds that appeared. The last part of last learning experience that you were asked to do for this week was to look in some depth at the developments that have occurred in both the guide and also the teacher support material. And in particular, the things we asked you to look at were the CAS stages model, which has been used really to help students and organise their experiences and provides them with a clear framework for actually doing that. And one of the things which the CAS stages model does is, of course, that it really emphasises the importance of reflection. Now, as several of you noted, it's really important that students are taught reflection and taught a variety of ways of actually reflecting. This enables them to choose a learning style which they prefer to actually reflect. And interesting about their CAS projects particularly, about how much they stress the importance of collaboration. Now, collaboration is not something often that many 17, 18, 19-year-olds are good at. It's an important social skill and practical skill. And the CAS project actually demands that the kids do that. So those were, for me, some of the points which came up from this first week. In the second week, we're going to look at the nature of CAS and one of the questions to be asking is CAS intelligence in the wild? And you'll see a video made by David Perkins from the Harvard Project Zero about that particular topic. We'll look at the relationship between the mission statement and CAS, and also to look at the learning outcomes for CAS. In the last activity of the first week, one of the points that someone made was how much more difficult it is now to assess whether a student has completed CAS because we're now looking to see that they've explained how they've met learning outcomes rather than just cataloguing hours. Personally, I think this is a very positive development in the CAS guide. It gets away from bean counting, in other words, counting the number of hours for CAS, and focuses really on how much the student has actually developed. Then we're going to, in the second week, look at something which is really important about how do we know if a proposal the kid has is actually CAS or not. And we're going to ask you to discuss some of the examples that you have of proposals that you've had when you have had to consider that question. And lastly, we're going to ask you to look at CAS projects. I hope you find the second week enjoyable and challenging in some ways. And I'm really looking forward to your posts. Bye for now.